Next one. Remember this morning I give talk about eBario. Dr. Iraj is free from that place, so he can give you a very real scenario or real story about Bario, because he's actually originally from that area. So Dato, so I think now the floor is yours to talk about eBario onwards, the digital connectivity and some issues and some challenges that you have experienced yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Herudin. It's not local name. If he's in Bario, it's not called Professor Herudin. Gatuman Bala. It's to do with eBario. And of course, very interesting presentation from my colleague, the Honorable Dr. Anwar Rapi, our Deputy Minister for Education, Innovation and Talent Development. I'm privileged to be invited to this forum amongst very distinguished members of academia, a very rare opportunity. And of course, I've been asked to present on eBario. eBario was operational, if I'm not mistaken, that to Prof. Either end of 1999 or year 2000. 1999, yes. 1999. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think 1999. 2000. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. Yeah, so a bit about eBario. eBario to me is one of the things that's a watershed in our community's history. It's transformed Bario. It's a pioneering project which was initiated by UNIMAS in collaboration with the local community. And I think this is part of the reason why it was a success, because of the very good collaboration with the local community, where they use local community members as champions, to promote this. And for us, it is an outstanding achievement, which earned both national and international recognition in terms of awards. I think UNIMAS was put on the map also because of this very, I say, very innovative and a very brave decision to initiate this project in Bario. For those of you who have not been to Bario, in those days, and until today, one of the only access is by flight on the 19-seater turboprop twin engine plane from Miri. And if you choose to go by land, in those days when eBario was set up, there was no road connectivity. Only later on, we have got logging roads coming in. And for those who are adventurous enough, you drive from Miri, you may arrive in 12 or 13, 14 hours. Sometimes it's overnight. If there's a landslide along the way, you have to camp. So that's Bario. And that's why I say UNIMAS took a very bold and brave decision to start this project there. And we are happy it's succeeded. As I said, because of this the success of this project, UNIMAS, and you look at the word, the Club IT, the Kelabit community, we never saw that actually it could be read as a Club IT community. They put us on the digital domain. Yeah, that's why they say it's the first Club IT in the world. So, I mean, for the Kelabit community, we never read it in this way. Just somebody told us, you are the Club IT, no? Yeah. And of course, I said, it's a transformation, because in those days, the only connectivity for the local community to reach or to connect to the outside world is this radio call. I'm not sure whether any of you have handled a radio call, whereby after you speak, you have to say over, and then the other person will speak. You cannot speak simultaneously. So some of our folks from Bario, last time when they come to town, they use the phone, they still say over. That's the habit from this. And of course, from radio call, then one or two public forums. And then suddenly with eBario there, you are on the digital, in the digital world, digital world and internet. and of course, instant connectivity to the outside world, which is a totally new experience for them. Stepping into the new world of computers and the internet. I still remember Dr. Roger Harris, is it?
Yes.
Roger Harris was the first staff from UNIMAS who went to Barrio. He got in touch with me because he wanted actually to propose a collaboration with Shell. I used to work with Shell before, but Shell for some reason decided not to at that point in time. So I went with him to Barrio. He brought his laptop, and I was telling him, I'm just wondering, how do you explain these things? What is this laptop about? And what is it that can do, you know, to the elders, especially those elders there. Yeah. But he had got a very good orientation. The first day we arrived, I brought him hunting at night before he started his sexual work. So, you know, he was amazed how we could find our way out in the jungle at night. Yeah. So basically, it made the community, the people there, having to learn new skills and new ways of doing things. You know, something that really changed their life. It's just an illustration, you know. I mean, the picture there, of course, the guy without the shirt is a Penan guy who also was at the telecenter. And that's one of the ex-vice chancellor of UNIMAS. Yusuf Hadi, of course. Yeah. So it's a small space there. And this is a member of the team. You see that young man smiling there? Yeah, still young in those days. Of course, sorry. The other guy that I was referring to, Dr. Harris, is at the back there. And the local champion is the guy behind Dr. Professor, Councillor John Taraweh. Yeah. And issues, just to capture a few. Of course, one of the things is that it's a VSAT technology, very small satellite aperture technology, so the capacity is very limited. And then, of course, the second thing at that time was actually consistency and reliability. Not consistent and not reliable power supply because they were running on a generator. So generator in those days, as I said, you had to have fuel, and fuel was flown in by flight, and it's not easy to bring in fuel. So it's only at certain hours you can have access, or you use a generator to power up the eBario there. And of course, the third bullet point there is the on UNIMAS exit point. This was the point at the time when they had to hand it over to the community to manage and to run. Of course, there was a lot of hand-holding. The community wanted to hang on to UNIMAS, but we said no, because UNIMAS, any project of this nature, there has to be an exit point somewhere. So then, of course, came up the issue as to, of course, community as against a private operator. The issue here is that if you say hand over to the community, there's no single point responsibility. Unless, of course, there are other alternatives for the community to set a committee specifically to look after the running and maintenance of the center. But there was this tussle between this, what is seen to be community ownership, as well as a private operatorship. So there was a company formed, eBario Sendirian Bahar, which then ran the center. So what they did was anybody who wanted to use the internet, of course, they had to pay a minimal fee, which they used to cover operating costs and so on. You know? So there was a phase in the project where there was a bit of a tussle, where actually, who actually should be responsible for this. When you talk community, people have got different ideas. So then, of course, operating cost of eBario, I think getting the satellite access, it was very expensive. And I think initially it was sponsored by MCMC, for a certain period, you know. And then the last point, as I said, is that the community still want to hold onto UNIMAS, but UNIMAS, of course, for this project had to exit, but they had a few other projects ongoing. with the community. And until today, I must say, because of the good experience we had in the initial days and until today, the community still look up to UNIMAS. We have a very dynamic, active engagement with UNIMAS, of course, including Professor Datuk Harudin. That's why he got his local name, Ketuman. So that's that opportunities from this, of course, education. A huge opening education-wise, because we have got a primary school there in Barrio and a junior secondary school, students up to Form 3. And when they go to town, of course, people talk about the internet and so on, whereas they don't have any internet. So that was good to have them exposed early before they come for the middle or senior secondary school in town. Otherwise, they will be very handicapped. So that gave them an opportunity to get exposure to digital education, both for students and also for some of the parents. You see, like one example, before this was in the early 80s. One of the students in town, when he came from Barrio, he studied in Lutong. So the English teacher tell them, you write a story about your favorite TV program. This guy couldn't write because he never had a TV in Barrio. So imagine if we have not had this early eBario day in the early days, students coming to town and talking about all this computer when they are Form 4, Form 5, they're totally left out. Yeah. So of course, it's bridging the knowledge gap as well as building confidence amongst the local students. Then, of course, this unlimited access to information and to knowledge. Previously, they just relied on whatever books they are available in the library, And again, as I said, the realization of the community that we can be a digital community here. We are connected to the internet. And opportunities, business opportunities, growth in tourism, tourist arrivals, as well as number of quality of homestays, because people were able to contact the outside world. Visitors who want to go to Barrio can contact direct with the homestay operators, So there was a significant increase in arrival of tourists to Barrio, and because of that, we have more of these homestays as well as the quality of the homestays. And there's a growth in volume of business, and we have got new businesses coming in into Barrio. In those days, if you've been to Barrio, there are a row of lock-up shops, probably about 20 of them. Some of them are vacant. Nowadays, it's all congested. Now they're all telling me that they need new commercial space. They want proper shop houses to do business there. Not enough business premises. And of course, enhanced delivery of services like medical emergencies. In those days, if the radio call is not working, you just have to wait and hope that the patient will survive until the next day when the aeroplane comes in, So because you don't have any way to contact the the hospital in Miri to send the helicopter. Sometimes, we just rely on because there's a daily flight by Maswing. So, of course, with this connectivity, those issues are not a problem anymore. And of course, agriculture services, a lot of services which can be available on the internet. Then, of course, platform for marketing of local produce for some of the farmers there. All the local produce. And the last point there, there's one guy, Stephen Baya Peter. He is a good artist and he ran a homestay. So once he's not busy with tourists, he will paint. Then when the tourists come in, they like his painting. Then they started went around. Then he advertised it on the internet. Now he's living in Denmark. And he's still an artist there. He sells his artwork all over the place. Yeah, so these are the opportunities. and other people are doing the same thing with the craft work and some of the local producer. And then because of the success of eBario, I think it gave a good feel for UNIMAS. So they branched into a few other researchers and studies in the area, not just UNIMAS. Because of eBario, I think UNIMAS replicated it in some other areas like Ilamai. Yeah? My friend Ezra is here. He's from Ilamai. Long Lamai, yeah? So Ilamai, Beruang, Jakitan, and so on.
In Sabah.
Even in Sabah, in Peninsula Malaysia, yeah. And out of that came up this Bario Knowledge Fair, where it was an event for researchers, academia, and what practitioners to come together for sharing of their knowledge and to, I think, go into further research. And that program is still ongoing now. eBario Knowledge Fair, which is run basically by UNIMAS, and I do participate in a few of them. And they rotate not just in Bario, they go to Bak Kelalang and a few other places. Long Pasir, I think, at one time. And then out of that again came this Bario Community Radio, which is again a new thing altogether. I was involved in getting the license from the Ministry of Multimedia Communication, and they were a bit puzzled, because they have not issued such a license before. But I said, but you are the licensing authority, you must know how how the license should look like. So they issued us a license, and then UNIMAS helped to build that Bario Community Radio, which is very useful over there. But of course, we have to get people in the nearby villages to buy radios. It's believe the village chief, that he knows what's going on, and still operating now, Bario Community Radio. Then, of course, we have other research projects coming in because of that, Bario on the map. So we have even the Sarawak Biodiversity Center. They are now working on a certain plant to extract the oil. And now we just realized that this plant is very, very commercial.
They call it Litsara.
What's that?
Litsara.
Litsara.
It's actually
It's a berry.
It's a berry.
Yeah.
A lot of oil.
Yes. So a lot of people are involved in this now. And then, of course, we've got research also from the Sarawak Forestry Corporation and Cambridge and Oxford universities. So if you talk about the benefits from eBario, the gentleman, Dato, is there addressing a forum somewhere. Yeah, of course, this is the team which are involved in eBario. And you see the name there, Gatuman Bario. Gatuman is actually our local word for connectivity. Yeah. So this was taken about 3 weeks ago with our Minister for Tourism Malaysia, Nancy Shukri. Yeah? And this is Radio Bario, operating from a small room, very basic, but it functions. And it serves the community well. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Honorable Dato' Rawat. I think he's a local person from Bario, so I think you can capture that some of the issues that he mentioned are very much about local knowledge. So like the plant just now, the way that people there conduct their livelihood. So I think these are the things that we as practitioners and researchers sometimes we overlook, that the local knowledge is very important for us to understand and to incorporate our solutions.